And this is Power Play. I'm Chris Stirewalt. Thanks very much for being with us. And yes, the topic in Washington today is who's working harder to get the debt deal done. And we are fortunate in that way to be joined by Senator John Thune from the state of South Dakota, the real Sunshine State. Senator, how are we doing today?
I'm doing all right, Chris. How are you doing today?
I'm doing super. So the president says you guys aren't working hard enough. You need to work harder so that you can solve this problem. Now you're going to stay in session next week. What's your take on the president's indictment of your work ethic?
I think the best way to get an appointment with the president is to set up a tea time.
Ooh.
But no, honestly, it would be one thing if we were actually working on the issue, Chris. The problem is everything that we're doing right now has nothing to do with the fundamental biggest challenge that the country faces, and that is this massive debt, the vote to raise the debt limit coming up here in early August. We haven't, the Senate Democrats have not now for 792 days passed a budget. So it's hard for us as Republicans to see where the president is headed here. He is clearly would like to use this as an opportunity to raise taxes at a time when we're trying to get the economy out of the ditch, which is the wrong approach to use. And he's not doing anything to rein in the massive amount of spending that's going on here in Washington. So we're waiting for his leadership. He can say that he's doing this or doing that, but he's not focused on the thing that's most important right now, and that's getting the spending and debt under control and getting the economy growing so we can get people back to work.
And the president today is on the campaign trail. He's in Pennsylvania. He said goodbye to Defense Secretary Robert Gates this morning, but he's on the campaign trail to Pennsylvania today for a pair of fundraisers in Philadelphia. How does that sit with the folks in your caucus for him to take a swipe at you all for not getting the job done and then be out campaigning?
His priorities right now, I think, have a lot more to do with politics and re-election. And that's why I think there's a real reluctance to deal with these major issues, because these are tough issues. These are going to require hard decisions and some real leadership. And so far, the president has been missing in action on this issue of the budget. He has yet to do anything to demonstrate that he understands that we've got to rein in this out-of-control spending here in Washington, deal with the issue of entitlement reform. The natural instinct for him and for many Democrats here, as it seems to be part of their DNA, is, okay, we're heading into a debt crisis. Let's raise taxes instead of solving the debt crisis by making government smaller. Let's make government larger and expand it even further. And that's a fundamental disconnect I think he has with the American people. But it certainly doesn't sit well with us, of course, when he challenges us and throws throws the gauntlet down and then takes off to go raise money.
Now, Senator, we asked the Internet for some questions for you, and one of the questions people want to know is, you're behind a movement in the Senate for a balanced budget amendment. You're part of a group that's pushing to have at least a vote on a balanced budget amendment, and can you explain for folks at home how that works and what's involved?
Well, it's the cleanest way to solve this problem, Chris. What Congress has demonstrated is it doesn't have the political will or the political courage to make these hard decisions. And so we need a discipline imposed on Congress, not unlike what many state legislatures have. In fact, there are 49 states that have some form of balanced budget requirement, which is why most states get their budgets balanced every year. There are a few exceptions to that, but I can tell you my state of South Dakota is a good example. We balance our budget. We've got a strong economy relative to other parts around the country, but we don't spend money we don't have. And I think that the balanced budget amendment is the best way to solve the problem that we're all dealing with, and that is year-over-year overspending and deficits that run as far as the eye can see, and they're literally going to bankrupt the country in the next generation. So there are 47 Republicans who are on a balanced budget amendment. We hope to get a vote on it here in the next couple of weeks, and if we could pass it out of here, and it takes 2/3 votes in the United States Senate, and then the House, I think the House can pass it, then send it to the states and have them ratify it, and let's get about the business of fixing the problems that this country has. That would be the cleanest, simplest, most straightforward way to do it.
Now, that takes a long time, though. It's not an immediate solution. How about this cut, cap, and balance pledge that some of your colleagues have signed on to? Is that a reasonable alternative in the short term?
Absolutely. I mean, we need to cut spending today, this year. We need to cap spending in the future years, and then work on a balanced budget amendment, which, as you said, it would take a little while to get that through the process. But it starts with a vote here. If we make the vote here, and frankly, think about this. I mean, the last time I was a freshman congressman in 1997, the last time the Senate voted on a balanced budget amendment, failed by one vote. One vote. You think about that, how different our situation would be today if that had passed back in 1997. So my view is that, yes, we need to take the steps today. We need to cut spending, cap it, and then get this balanced budget amendment passed. But it really is the way, at least as we head into the future, of imposing a discipline on Congress when it comes to spending that doesn't exist today.
And now, Senator, before I let you go, I have to ask, everybody in Washington is still wondering, despite what you've said, that your position on it has not changed, whether there's any chance your position on it could change when it comes to a potential presidential run. The tongues are wagging here in D.C. What do you say? Right.
Well, we've got great candidates out there, Chris. I'm not anxious to get into that campaign. We got plenty of work to do here in the Senate. I made my decision. It was the right decision for me. Obviously, I want us to have a nominee that is a principled, conservative, electable person, because we need to make sure that we limit this president to one term in office. If you look at the amount of damage that's been done in the last few years, it only gets worse in a second term. So it's really important that we get a nominee put forward this year that can win in November of 2012, and I'm going to work as hard as I can to make that happen.
Duly noted, Senator. Thank you very much for your time today. Have a great day.
Thanks, Chris. You too. See ya.